Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Sunday evening, and it's feeling like spring outside. We had 2 days in the 60s, and boy, did it feel like we were finally kind of turning the corner here, temperature-wise. Not so fast as Mother Nature, but we're not dealing with anything that's going to be crazy cold over the next 7 to 10 days. So we'll go 10 days out. We'll go 15 days out. We'll look at the trend as we wrap up the month of April here in the extended forecast. We've also got your Easter weekend to plan as well. All right. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you guys are doing okay. I'm a little late to the broadcast. It's a funny story. I was doing yard work pretty much all day today. We did our first cut of the lawn, which is always a big event in our household, mainly just for me. But that was a lot of fun. And then was doing some yard work, some mulching, and just some cleaning up some flower beds. And I needed to take a shower before the broadcast because I was a mess, still a mess. I've got like dirt in my fingernails. But anyway, I'm sitting there. I'm taking a shower upstairs, and it's the kids have school tomorrow, right? So my wife is going to give one of our kids a bath in the downstairs bathroom. And I've never taken a shower upstairs when the downstairs bathroom is the tub's running and stuff like that. And you guys know how that works in some households. When that one goes on, the hot water goes off upstairs, and it was at the point in the shower where I'm covered in soap and shampoo, and so I had to come running out, and I was yelling for my wife, but she can't hear me because the tub's running downstairs, and so 6 minutes later, I'm about 6 minutes late for this broadcast, but finally got everything pulled in together. So that's kind of what's going on in our house tonight. Hope you guys are doing okay. Let's see who's with us tonight. We've got Susan's with us. Yeah, sure is nice out today, Susan. You got it. Boy, it feels great. Hi, Mary. Hello to you. Jan, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Derek broke out the lawnmower as well. Yeah, did anyone else do their first cut this weekend? Some of us have done it last weekend. I know it was kind of soggy and wet around here, but the lawns are starting to dry out. And Mary, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I announced on my Facebook page that we are expecting our fifth, all planned. It's not like an oops or anything like that. But anyway, wow, I just went away. There we go. But anyway, thank you very much, Mary. Yeah, we're expecting our fifth child in September. I'll probably do just an announcement for those folks that aren't on here for region weather, because I do feel like you guys are family and you deserve to know that information, what's going on in our lives. For those that just came for the weather, there's that as well. All right, and hi to everyone else that's joining us. Diane, thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I do appreciate that. Jeff's with us. Lori, Beth as well. So there's that. Carol says the Farmer's Almanac said that we're looking at higher temps and more rain. Your thoughts? Well, Carol, that's interesting because I have the Farmer's Almanac at work. My mom gets it for me every single Christmas as a joke. There's great information in there, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's so vague. They'll say like, from the 10th of April through the 28th, we'll have warm temperatures and rain. And you're like, well, of course, we will at some point. But they didn't hit on the snow that we got, the abnormally cold February that we had. All of it was wrong, except for a couple of days that they had. So I won't put a lot of stock into that, Carol. But looking at the forecasts, we do have warming temperatures, as you'd expect this time of year, and we do have rain because it's spring. So they're right, but they're very vague. They're not very descriptive in terms of that. Julie, thank you very much. Jackie, thank you very much as well. All right, so I want to start. Let me start by thanking our sponsors real quick. If you want to get some popcorn or something, feel free to do that. We've got a lot of sponsors that keep the show for free, which is awesome. We've got T&T Tree Service. If you have any trees that are down from the recent storms, reach out to them. You can call them or visit ttreeservice.com. We've got Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. They're awesome, guys. They're the best. They're the most trusted heating and air conditioning company in Schererville. They've been around since 1976, so they're legit, and they're just fun. They're like a fun, great, they do great work, and they're nice people. You can visit them at earlsheating.com. They serve Lake and Porter County as well, all of it. So there's that. Romans Roofing. Romans Roofing has been busy. They have a very active Facebook page. They're fun as well. I just love fun sponsors that get it. Romans Roofing has been busy doing a lot of storm recovery damage and emergency repairs, stuff like that. So if you need a roof repaired, go to them. They handle the insurance as well, so you don't have to do any of that. They make it a real seamless process. And they're local to Hobart, but they service all of Northwest Indiana They do retail and storm restoration, siding, windows, gutters, you name it. All inspections and estimates are free. It's romansroofing.net or 219-838-9111. Also, Great Lakes Lighting. Lighting is probably the most efficient thing that you can get, especially in the springtime when you have, the beautiful lawns mowed, you've got the mulch done, and then you've got lighting on your house or on your mulch. I don't know. There's that. But anyway, trust the experts that have been doing it for years. Great Lakes Lighting have done an amazing job on area properties, and they specialize in landscape lighting, and they specialize in very efficient lighting as well. Not the big wasters that you see on the street lights, LED, stuff like that. So trust the experts at Great Lakes Lighting to do your lighting on your property. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue's been doing the world of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid for decades. He knows his stuff. And there are a lot of scams out there, and there are a lot of people that just signed up for Medicare programs or life insurance that they don't know what they have. And so he'd be happy to sit down with you for free, and he'll discuss what you have, maybe what you're getting too much of, what you're paying too much for, what you're not getting out of your benefits. Michael knows all that stuff inside out. Visit Minogue.life for the latest on that. Public service adjusters, if you guys have any insurance claims from the recent storms we had over the last couple of weeks, go to PSA. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. They're all local licensed insured adjusters. They'll come out, take pictures. They'll submit everything to your insurance company, and they'll deal with your insurance company. You should check out their Facebook page. They get people so much more money for things that were even denied by the insurance company. They'll go back and say, like you owe this client that. And they're amazing. People have 5-star reviews, publicserviceadjusting.com. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. It is home buying season, folks. Mortgage rates came down a little bit again. And Kate's ready to get you pre-approved. If you are in the market for a house, please go to Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's on Facebook. It's Kate Cusack Home Loan Girl on Facebook. And again, she's amazing. She joined us over the winter, did some storm forecasting. She's just fun. There's that. All right, I've got 2 more sponsors, tigerplumbing.net. If you have any plumbing needs whatsoever, please go to them. You can sign up on mobile, take a picture of it, or send a video to them. They come out for free. They're awesome, tigerplumbing.net. And finally, last but not least, FBI Buildings. They've been doing a lot of reconstruction in the Midwest for pole barns that got damaged by tornadoes and severe winds. And they'll either fix the storm damage that you might have, or they'll renovate or restore a pole barn, an existing pole barn that you might have, commercial, residential, whatever it happens to be. They do amazing work. Over 20,000 structures have been rebuilt or repurposed here from FBI Buildings. It's FBIbuildings.com. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They have brand new Jeeps ready to go. You take the doors off, everything off, and you can enjoy Mother Nature. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. All right, thanks for letting me get through those. Let's dive into the weather forecast. Let me see this. Derek says, question, do you think kind of late the state of Indiana put Lake County under a state of emergency? Derek, I do feel like it was a little late. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. There is a lot of red tape when it comes to stuff like that, but I do agree. Yes, I do think it was a little late. Rhonda says, my birthday is September 5th. Maybe, baby. Oh, okay. Well, we're aiming. That would be early, Rhonda, but you never know. But we'll see. And George says it's barbecue season. A barbecue sponsor is needed. I'd be okay with that. If anyone sells barbecue sauce, let's get you on here. That's awesome, George. All right, here's the big picture pattern across the country right now. As you look at the radar, we had some clouds around. There wasn't a lot of rain that made it to the ground, but off towards the north, there's a few storms in Wisconsin. But that's not really what I want our attention turned to. I want to turn towards this. It looks like a hurricane's coming out of North Dakota. A big area of low pressure. There's severe weather, or at least thunderstorms on the leading edge of that. They've had hail reports in that. And then you can see how everything on the backside in Montana is coming out of the north. Rutrow, we've got a system coming our way, and it's coming from the wrong direction if you want warm air. In fact, this system is going to produce severe weather tomorrow in portions of the Ohio Valley. So like central and southern Ohio into West Virginia, eastern Kentucky. Notice how our chance is not there tomorrow. I am not worried about severe threat. I saw a couple pages that just popped up in my feed. Again, I don't search them out, but they were talking about a severe threat all last week for this system. You notice we stayed mum on it, and I'm not saying that, hey, look at us, but I'm just saying you got to hold your horses on these sometimes, because that development in terms of where that main development region is going to be with some of these fast-moving systems, it can change in the modeling, and it can change by a good 100 to 200 miles. And that's what's happened over the course of the week. This threat was, always kind of wavering over the region, if not east, and now it's down towards Ohio. So I'm not worried about severe weather tomorrow, but you've got a day to plan out, and there is a chance of rain tomorrow. So let's take you through the forecast. Cold front is going to pass that same one that's up in North Dakota right now. That area of low pressure is coming our way. All right. There's not a lot of moisture with it in terms of a connection with the Gulf of Mexico. There's some rain and storms up there. Most of that will pass to the north. But in terms of this trailing cold front that's attached to it, here it comes right here. That trailing cold front that's attached to it doesn't really trigger storms until right there, well east of us. So here's the low up here. There's all the moisture with it. Notice how that passes north, and then everything gets triggered east of us. That's when it finally establishes a little bit of a Gulf of New Mexico connection. And in fact, most of the Atlantic moisture is actually what's contributing to it. But either way, we have a slim shower chance tomorrow as this thing passes. But I have a hunch most of it's going to be east of us. So because of that, we have a frontal boundary that passes tomorrow, but we squeak out kind of a dry front where we don't have to worry a whole lot about any rain with a cold front. We are going to turn cooler, especially tomorrow evening, but we're also going to sneak in kind of a nice day until that happens. I don't see a big temperature drop with this. I see just your normal diurnal swing where we go up into the low 60s tomorrow, and then we'll pivot, tomorrow night. That's when it'll turn cooler. But I think we have a great day tomorrow. The one thing we'll have to watch tomorrow is the wind on the back side of the system. You can see it here cranking with all these isobars. Whenever you see all these isobars, those are lines of equal pressure. When there's a lot of them close together, that means that pressure change is happening in a short distance, aka wind. And so we are going to have some gusty winds tomorrow. I could see winds going over 40 miles per hour, especially in the afternoon when we get some mixing in the atmosphere. And the other thing is our relative humidities are going to be coming down. We've got a little humidity that's around tonight and tomorrow out ahead of this front. Not a lot, but a little. And what happens tomorrow afternoon, we get this bone dry air out of Canada that'll be blowing in. So our relative humidity values and dew points subsequently are going to be coming down together. And so by afternoon and evening, we're going to have some really dry air around here. And so that combined with the wind, we do have a fire risk again. All right. So no open burning or bonfires or anything like that as you're heading out tomorrow evening. Okay. Just kind of a reminder. I know most of you probably aren't into that, but if you are, just a reminder, and hopefully you find that information helpful. All right, so that's system heads by, and then Tuesday we get kind of this low pressure. So that low pressure is off towards the north. It'll mix and kind of merge into another low pressure and form a bigger low, and that really keeps the cool air coming on Tuesday. It also brings this area of stratiform clouds through, and it also brings some rain and maybe a wet snowflake chance on Tuesday. The snow chance isn't going to be a huge deal, but don't be surprised if you see a flake or two mixed in. And you could see this system pretty dynamic sliding across the lakes. It's a quick hit, though. And if this thing were passing in December or November, or even January for that matter, we'd have days of clouds with this. We would have so much cloud cover and it wouldn't go away. But what's happening this time of year, remember that sun angle's much higher. The sun is much stronger in terms of the amount of energy we're getting from it, even through the clouds. And so as a result, we're going to have clouds, but they're going to head out pretty quickly. And so we're going to be back to some sunshine with this high pressure coming in by Wednesday. All right. It should be a nice quiet day. So that's that system there. All right. Let's go longer term because there's an interesting set of storm systems that are coming our way for Easter weekend. And these storms that are coming our way, or storm systems, should I say, when I say storm system, a lot of people get confused by that. When I say storm system, it basically just means the low, the cold front, and a warm front if there is one. That's a whole system as a whole. So we've got several storm systems coming our way as we go into the end of the week and then our Easter weekend. So let's talk about the chances for that. All right, here's our storm system tomorrow. One more look at it from kind of a bigger zoomed out view. Here are your storms down in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. Here's our nice dry day that we squeak in. Colder air arrives tomorrow night, and then we're chilly on Tuesday with some showers. Again, don't be surprised there's a wet snowflake in there or two, especially in LaPorte County. That would be our best chance, all right? That system moves out quickly. Here's Wednesday. Nice high pressure setting up. We'll start to warm that air back up, so I think we'll recover nicely. Should make it into the upper 50s, low 60s. Remember, that's normal or average. I never say normal because there is no normal here in the region, but that's our average high. It's in the low 60s, anywhere from 60 degrees to 62, depending on where you are. That's a really nice midpoint, right? So we could easily be in the 80s. We could easily be in the 40s just as easily. But, we usually find ourselves somewhere in the 50s, 60s, or 70s this time of year. And we're going to settle near 60 on Wednesday. And then our next storm system gets going by Thursday. This will be an area of low pressure out in the plains. We'll continue to warm things up. And this low will have a warm front with it. You see it there lifting through. I would not be surprised if we had a PM thunderstorm on Thursday. Not looking at a severe chance right now, but remember, warm fronts can bring a lot of lightning with any thunderstorms. They can also bring some hail. Not saying that's going to happen, but that's what I'm going to be watching for on that Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening system. That would be a warm front. Warm fronts are good things this time of year. It brings a nice warm air mass in here by Friday. So then here's Friday. The front has lifted off towards the north. The Euro keeps us kind of messy with just rain chances. It has the warm front lifting north, but it has these waves of storms on the southern end of that warm front. And so the Euro keeps us pretty stormy around here Friday into Friday night. All right. If we stay stormy, we would probably not have a chance at reaching 80 degrees. Some of the other modeling I've looked at lifts that warm front further north and really warms us up to near 80 on Friday. Either way, it's going to be warm and kind of humid on Friday. All right. How warm we get still up in the air. But what we need to keep an eye out is for a pretty decent line of storms at some point with this storm system. The Euro thinking it's going to be late Friday into Friday night. Some of those could be severe. All right. I've got a pretty good signal for that, especially with our dew points going up. We've got enough warmth. We'll be well into the 70s at least. We have a good chance as that cold front kind of punches in that we would have some sort of severe weather chance around here later Friday into Friday night. Okay. So that's going to be our heads up. That front heads by for Saturday, says the Euro. Most of the rain should clear the area for Easter egg hunts. It would be slightly cooler. We'd probably be upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Not too terrible. And then on into Sunday, here's your Easter Sunday. Another bigger system is lifting north out of the plains. There would probably be a warm front with that as well. And that warm front may head through next Saturday or Sunday for Easter Sunday. That system may develop a little slower, maybe further west. So I'm not real confident saying there's a rain chance on Sunday, but what we'll be watching for is some kind of frontal boundary to be lifting north as this new system takes shape. And then that one brings all sorts of interesting weather to the country next week, but more notably what it does is it lifts all this warm air up to the Canadian border, and so we warm up, and we warm up real nicely. I'll show you temperatures here in a little bit. That system heads north with kind of a weak frontal boundary that doesn't have any colder air behind it. And then notice how we just kind of turn rainy and stormy with some other kind of system into the following week. I don't see any cold air advancing into the U.S. once we get beyond, that little hit over the next couple days. And I think we stay fairly mild through the extended. So that's some really good news in terms of the forecast. And the other thing I do like to see, I know we don't like to plan around that, but the thing I like to see is there are lots of rain chances coming our way. We're not going to get into a pattern where we have a week and a half of dry weather. We got into that last summer, we got into that last fall, and we got into that over the course of the winter with our big snow hole over the region, right? Everything was going around us. We don't want a pattern like that as we go into spring. We really don't, because our soils, everything we're planting, all that stuff, we need that ground moisture, and the farmers need it for their crops as well. So I do see periodic chances for rain and stuff like that. Couple of little tidbits I'm going to give you from the gardening side of myself. It is a great time to plant grass seed right now, especially with Mother Nature bringing rain every couple days or so. You don't have to worry about watering. You just water it initially, let it go in there, and then it'll do its thing. Mother Nature should be able to sprout that stuff, but it's a great time to do that, to plant grass seed right now. I had someone ask me today at Home Depot. They asked me, they didn't even say hi. They said, "Matt, I have a question for you." I said, "Well, nice to meet you." But he asked me if it's okay to put hanging baskets out yet. And it depends on what they are. If they're the fern hanging baskets that are so common, those things are pretty hardy, all right? And I don't see any real cold air outside of the next 2 days. We've got a cold night ahead waking up on Tuesday morning, another cold one on Wednesday morning especially. We could dip below freezing Wednesday morning in spots. But anyway, that being said, those hanging baskets would be fine out on the porch, wherever they are. They'll do just fine. Ours survived all the way through November. I mean, it was like a Christmas hanging basket, and we had several freezes. You might want to bring it close to the house or cover it up, though. In terms of planting stuff, don't do it. It's too soon for that. Unless it's something that's hardy that is okay to plant right now. But in terms of annual stuff like that, forget about it. Way too soon for that. And then what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing I learned on some gardening show is that you can trim everything now. All right, but you have like a week more to do it before things start really growing. So if anything needs trimmed up, exception being like azaleas and things that bloom real soon, like in the next month and a half or so, you don't want to trim those up. You trim those after they flower. But trees, burning bushes, stuff like that, you can trim all that stuff up pretty well right now, and it will grow nicely. But this is the only time of year you can do that stuff. So that's your gardening with Matt segment. I hope that's okay. That's my other passion, is all that stuff. So anyway, but looking at all the rain chances, it is good to see. All right, here's your temperature profile. This is the Euro model run. All right. Again, these numbers aren't truth, but I look for a trend in these. We've got a nice day tomorrow with 60s, and then we get this cooler shot of air. Here's your low Wednesday morning, 32. Thursday morning, kind of iffy as well. Could be in the 30s. But notice we've got this dip in temps. Right back up as we go to end the week. Euro being conservative with a 71 on Friday, has it a little rainier. GFS had us much warmer into the upper 70s. We get a little cooler behind that, but not cold. 52 is not terrible for Saturday, right? Easter Sunday in the 60s, and then look at all the 70s next week, says the Euro, as that big system comes in and lifts everything off towards the north. The final thing I have for you, then you can ask your questions. As always, I'd be happy to answer anything you guys have. The drought, we're done with it, right? All that rain that we got, we knew that we were going to be out of that drought. And the good news is we're sitting pretty. We're pretty good right now in terms of ground moisture. And obviously, a lot of backyards, we had too much of it in the last month. But all that's soaking in nicely, and it's setting up us up for success here as we go into planting season across the region. Outside of all the devastating flooding, all that water, remember, takes a while to flow eventually into the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, and they're having big crests down the Mississippi River from all that rain that fell about a week to 2 weeks ago here in the region. But we're out of the drought officially. That yellow that you see, that's just abnormally dry. That's for counties south of us, down towards Benton County, and then getting down towards the Indianapolis region and Lafayette. So, okay. So that's what we've got weather-wise here. And let me pull something up real quick. I want to look at this satellite, which just because we can. This is a visible satellite. It's so nice to have these later sunsets because we can see this even at this hour. All right, let's go ahead and ask your questions. We'd be happy to answer those, and I'll get you on your way tonight. As always, guys, I do appreciate you joining me on Sunday nights. I hope you get stuff out of this. Again, that's my whole goal, and I do appreciate it for sure. And if you're not signed up for emails yet, a lot of you have done that in the last 2 weeks. Regionweather.com is the website. We're not crazy active in terms of sending you emails. It's usually one a day. It's in the morning, and it's something I type up with a picture with it, okay? And it goes right to your inbox, and you can say, oh, Matt wrote this specifically for me. It's not a weather app. There's a human behind it. But if you go to regionweather.com, on the right-hand side of the screen up towards the top, you'll see sign up for email. You just enter your email. We don't sell it to anyone. There's no junk on it or anything like that. It's just a way for me to communicate with you every single morning throughout the week about what the weather's going to do, okay? Diane, you're welcome for the gardening tips. I can give a lot more of those for sure. I am very much into gardening, and I think if I ever wasn't a meteorologist, I'd probably be a botanist or something like that. It's just so fascinating. Jan, you're welcome as well. Yeah, Jacob, I'm only worried. The only day I'm worried about right now would be Friday into Friday night. Depending on how that system evolves, though, Jacob, and it's a great question. Depending on how that system evolves, let's say that front doesn't quite clear us and comes back as a warm front, and we would extend, the severe weather chance into Saturday. It's certainly possible, but as of right now, it looks like it'll be pretty progressive, where we'll have to keep an eye on Thursday with the warm front. I'm not too worried about that. It's more that cold front on Friday that I'd be keeping my eye on. So there's that. Oh, Maxwell. Oh, boy. Friend got a slow-mo camera. So Maxwell is notorious for bringing us just amazing lightning pictures. He does it very safely. But now with a slow-mo cam, boy, Maxwell, you're going to have so many lightning shots. You are. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Mark, yeah, great amount of sunlight right now in Green Acres, in Hobart, Indiana. Yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful bright sun that's coming out after those clouds cleared the area, Mark. Yeah, and we're going to have partly to mostly clear skies tonight. There's just some high clouds that are going to be filtering over us. And then tomorrow, again, I don't think too bad of a day. Here's the frontal boundary off towards the north. There's not a lot of cloud cover with it. This secondary low kind of comes in here and will swing in. And that's what brings some of the clouds and showers on Tuesday. So there's that. Maxwell, traditionally we are, in terms of, he says, I feel like we're done with the 30s for highs. I did a little digging in terms of historical averages and stuff like that. And Maxwell, our typical last day with highs in the 30s is early April. So yes, we should be done with that by now. We could still get a 40-degree high here and there. Again, we're looking at one midweek this week as this cold air comes in. But overall, I'm telling you, we flipped a switch, and it always happens in April. I mean, we know that. We know it warms up in April. May's the month where we're like solidly getting warm, right? But April, we flip a switch so fast between like a winter, like where you can have winter-like weather to start the month, and then by the end of the month, you're like, I think we're done with it. And the reason why, this is our quickest warming month. We gain about 3 degrees on our average every single week. That's a lot. It slows down to about 2 degrees per week in May, and then in June it slows down to about a degree a week, right, as we're kind of cresting into that early July peak in terms of temperatures. So we're warming so fast now that it really every single day makes a huge difference, and it's because we're gaining so much daylight. Our daylight gain is starting to slow a little bit, but we're gaining still well over 2 minutes a day, which is really, really nice. Yeah, Maxwell, me too. Maxwell, what are you planting this year? What's everyone planting this year? Do we have any huge like farmers out there, or people just doing normal gardens this year? Has anyone started anything inside? Have you started some seeds? I wish I could take my camera off. I'd show you our seedlings we've got started right now. You got to remember to water them every day, but we've got like the little heating pads down and the trays of everything. And we're doing squash. We've got Emmy. Is Emmy down here? Oh, I thought my daughter was down, or someone was down. Hey, what are we growing this year? Sunflowers. Oh yeah, red peppers too. Are they coming up? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, this is just the best time of year. Really. Well, summer's not bad. Fall's pretty good too. But you get it. So yeah, awesome. Oh, Maxwell's doing watermelon, sweet corn, pumpkins, and green beans. Awesome, Maxwell. So cool. And Tyler's ready for summertime. All right. He thinks we're there. We're getting close, Tyler. We really are. Let's see. Mark has 2 new rose bushes to plant. When is a good time? Mark, you could do them now. There's a product called Rose Tone, which you should put on them. You want to fertilize those things pretty good when you first get them in. And if you just bought the rose bushes, you're good with them. They're nice and trimmed up. Those that have rose bushes, you want to make sure they're trimmed. And I think it's too late. We're like right on the cusp of being too late to trim rose bushes right now. But you want to get them down to like 4 or 5 stalks. All right. They tend to branch out with a lot of little ones, but you want to trim all those little branches off and get it down to like 4 or 5 stalks. That way you can have the most energy going up those stalks, and you can have the best roses. But there's a product called Rose Tone or Plant Tone. You want to make sure you get those in the ground as well, Mark, in terms of getting those roses in. Anastasia, what did I miss in regards to the storm we're supposed to get soon? So I'm not worried about, there's 2 storm threats that I'm seeing on social, at least, and with some of the forecasts. Tomorrow's I'm not worried about. We're just going to have a cold front go through with real strong winds tomorrow afternoon. Again, windy, not out of the world crazy. But I'm more concerned about our late week storm chance. I think we've got a good chance of storms. Right now, it's lining up to be Thursday. We would have a warm front that would produce perhaps some thunderstorms around here. We'll keep our eye on that. Warm fronts don't typically produce tornadoes. They usually produce a lot of lightning and some hail in addition to heavy rain. So that would be the threat with Thursday, not set in stone. So stay tuned to the forecast. And then Friday would be my concern for severe weather. We've got a pretty decent front coming through. We've got good dynamics, good moisture content, good heat. It'll be in the 70s. So Friday, we'll keep our eye close on that. Yeah, those work too. The Job spikes or Joby, I've got some of those. We use those for some of the trees, but yeah, those are good. Tyler's doing basil. Awesome. Is it growing already, Tyler, or did you just plant? That's okay. George says, when do the hornets and wasps start to show up? Usually in May, and by June they're doing their thing, George. Yeah, I mean they're coming out of their slumber now. You'll see maybe 1 or 2 out there that are just kind of floating around, flying into the wall over and over. I mean I don't know what it's like to be them, but they seemed real dazed and confused when they first come out. But yeah, we're going to be getting there pretty soon. Anastasia, you're welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to join us. I always appreciate that. All right, I think that's it in terms of questions. So we'll let you get on your way. Thank you guys for joining me. All right, we're going to have tabs all week long on that Friday Severe thread. We'll keep you updated on that. And obviously, let's celebrate the fact we're warming up here this week, okay? All right, we've got the radio forecast, don't forget, on X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1. Every single day, we've got region weather forecasts on there, chats, talkbacks, all that stuff. Very entertaining, so there's that. Mark says, whoever's planting radishes, please send me some. George, you're absolutely welcome. Thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate your time more than my time. So thank you very much. All right. You guys have a wonderful week. Okay. We'll talk